Well, hello, this is Deborah Johnson with you today with our Power of After show, where we're helping you to maximize your skills, your resources, and your experience for really your best chapter of life. And when we were young, ideas seemed to just spill out everywhere, fueled by energy, passion, and all of these late nights. But when we hit mid-career and we move into our halftime of life, our energy and our intuition alone, they just don't cut it anymore. And that's when systems, and we're talking about that today, they become essential. And systems aren't just about stifling creativity, they're all about channeling it. And they turn scattered effort into progress that you can sustain and helping you make the most of your experience and your skills and your vision. And when you've got a good system working for you, well, it actually gives you more freedom. It's more fun and not less. So today we're talking about why those systems matter so much for entrepreneurs, especially, and for dream builders, and how putting together the right ones and that can unlock your very best next chapter. So stay tuned. Power of After is for you at mid-career, halftime of life, helping you maximize your skills, resources, and experience. We have courses, products, and help to make this stage of your life your best and most purposeful ever. Don't miss a single article, free download, or podcast. Get all the latest at goalsforyourlife.com/newsletter. Now, let's dive into today's episode. When I was going through college, I never even heard the word entrepreneur. That's how old I am. And even in graduate school. Well, however, I was in the arts and we were always creating and we were always putting together creative programs. And we were young. We had plenty of energy and ideas to create something new. I stayed up a lot of nights. But over time, relying solely on that energy and on all of that intuition, it becomes unsustainable. And this is especially true for those of us who are at that mid-career point of our life and halftime of life. And so implementing a good system that works for us is a game changer. And I have done this in my life. A system, it provides the structure that transformed all of these scattered efforts into sustainable progress. And a good system, it carries the weight of change and it reduces that mental work. It's like having a good list. You leave your stress on the list. And the systems, they allow entrepreneurs to maximize skills and resources while minimizing all of that wasted time, the duplication, and the chaos. And so when a good system's in place, it's really freeing. And I talked about this quite a bit in my book, Power of After. And in the process of creating an ideal lifestyle in our next chapter of life. And so, well, let's explore today why systems matter so much for entrepreneurial ventures and how to implement them effectively. And some of you listening, you want to be more creative at this point in your life. So why entrepreneurs tend to resist systems? Well, many entrepreneurs, they're visionaries. They thrive on flexibility, new ideas, and problem solving. And it's fun to come up with those ideas. And if you visit my office, you will see multiple album projects all on my wall. And they all started with a really fun idea. If the term systems was used in my creative projects and process in the past, well, I might have just discounted its advantage. Now, systems may sound rigid, boring, or confining to a creative, but that perception, it misses the point. And actually, I found that I did have systems put in place. I didn't even realize it. A system doesn't really kill creativity. It enables it. It helps us get our projects done. By streamlining those repetitive tasks and providing structure, systems free up mental energy for what entrepreneurs do best: innovate, connect, and grow their businesses. And the systems I put in place, especially in working with a remote small team, that has really freed me up. I have spent many, many years practicing scales, chords, and rhythms, arpeggios, on the piano. I've been a professional musician for many years and it feels repetitive, but that discipline, it creates freedom so I can improvise and perform with excellence. And some of those scales and arpeggios, they just now fly off my fingers as if they're integrated into my technique. And the same principle is true for entrepreneurs. The right systems, they create room for that freedom, not for restriction. So I'm going to define here what exactly is a system. What am I talking about? Well, a system is a repeatable process or a framework that helps achieve a consistent outcome. And it could be practicing those scales. It could be a customer onboarding process that ensures that every client has the same great experience. How freeing that is. Or it could be an accounting workflow that tracks income and expenses without scrambling at tax season. Oh, that's a good reminder for me. And I've been much more mindful of this in recent years. Good system. Also, a content calendar that organizes marketing efforts across social media, blogs, and email. I've used this type of calendar quite a bit with my VA for years. Or a hiring framework that helps bring the right people in your team. Well, the core purpose of a system is consistency and clarity, and it takes away that mental energy and extra work, all that extra weight. And with systems in place, entrepreneurs don't need to redo the same or similar work every single time they face a task. So here's some key advantages of implementing a system. One, there's the advantage of scalability, and you can apply this to so many areas of life. Without systems, growth quickly turns into chaos. And what works in one or two situations, it becomes really just overwhelming when you add 10 more. And systems allow businesses and entrepreneurs to handle increased demand without collapsing under the pressure. And especially if you're a solopreneur or you have a very small team. For example, if your invoicing process is manual and inconsistent, where your growth will only magnify the problem as you get more orders. A systemized invoicing tool, it ensures that clients are billed on time, cash flow is more predictable, and you're not buried in paperwork. I hate getting buried in paperwork. And today there's so many AI tools really readily available. So really do your research. Spend time doing that. It's well worth it. Now, two, there's an advantage of time and energy savings. And one of the biggest drains for creatives and for entrepreneurs is decision fatigue. Every day it brings dozens of choices, big and small, of what to do and what to keep up with. And good systems, they cut through that by creating some pre-made pathways to make those decisions. And for example, when you have a content creation system, you don't waste hours wondering, what should I post today? Well, instead, you follow a framework such as a monthly theme or weekly posts and you can schedule your publishing. And I use a simple system that I share with my assistant on my Google Drive. It doesn't matter where in the world she is or he is. I've used several different VAs, and the time and energy I save, it compounds into hours freed for my higher value activities. Very important. Get a system in place. And three, the advantage of consistency in quality. Now, clients and customers, they come back because they trust you to deliver a consistent experience. It's almost like getting rehired for gigs. I've worked really hard on this with my podcast and my show, and systems ensure that quality doesn't just depend on my energy level or my memory. I've found that the more I handle, the more details that can slip my mind, especially the older I get. So a good system is absolutely necessary, not to be overwhelmed. As an example, if every client onboarding step is documented and automated with a welcome email, a contract, a kickoff call, and then every client will feel valued and informed no matter how busy you are. And I still use the free level of HubSpot as a CRM. which is a customer relationship management system. It's free and it's really one of the best. And it works extremely well for my use. It's really all I've needed. I'm not a huge company. And four, the advantage of reduced stress and chaos. Now, for years, I ran showcase rooms for regional arts conferences all across the country, booking in artists and they were showcasing their acts. And I still remember the vivid illustration of one of the entertainers spinning multiple plates in the air. And the visuals have stayed with me as a great illustration of the difficulty of running a business. Multiple projects and deadlines, they can feel like plates are just spinning faster and faster, and you're constantly reacting instead of proactively leading. And good systems, they give that peace of mind by ensuring that nothing critical slips through the cracks or crashes to the ground with too many plates in the air. And ironically, the more systemized your business is, the more room you have for creative breakthroughs. And when the basics run smoothly, well, you can invest time into experimenting and exploring and innovating, writing more songs for me. Well, this is why, or books. And this is why companies with strong systems are often the ones that scale successfully into new markets or products. They're not bogged down by the daily grind of trying to balance all of those spinning objects. So here are some of the practical steps to implementing systems. Now, one, especially if you are a solopreneur, listen very carefully. If you're a creative, identify the repetitive tasks. Look for tasks that you or your team do over and over again, sending invoices, answering FAQs, publishing content, onboarding clients. Now, these are prime activities for systemization. And they still require work, but the process of completion is much smoother. I use this with video editing right now. I use this with my VA with posting content on social media. Step two, map the process. Now break down the different tasks into clear steps as an SOP or that standard operating procedure. Be very specific and write them out on a checklist or a flow chart. I write this out almost like if I'm working with a foreign person so they can understand everything. I share in my book that I found this out the hard way when I had to let a VA go. And when taking on a new hire, this type of document would have been so helpful. So the goal is to make the process of training someone new or tasks that are repeated easy to follow. I've done this since then. Number three, step three, automate where possible. So you want to leverage tools and technology, CRM systems like that HubSpot system, project management tools. There are some like Asana, Trello, or even a shared calendar on Google Drive. That works. And marketing automation like MailChimp, Constant Contact, or others, I use another, that can handle repetitive tasks automatically. And I consistently keep my eye out for new tools that will make my life easier, though. But I stick with a few basics that are reliable and that have stood the test of time because I don't want to waste my time too much on too many new things that are going to be time suckers. And I schedule newsletters, videos, and articles way in advance. It frees me up for extra travel and projects. It's work, but then I'm freed up. So no system is perfect the first time. Use feedback to improve the process until it's smooth and effective. And don't be overwhelmed. Take tiny steps. Your system will grow and it will change with the growth of technology, individual branding, and life focus. It should be flexible enough just to make some changes that you want. Also create a central hub for your systems. It could be a shared Google Drive, a Dropbox, or other cloud storage system. And train your team so they know and trust the process and that they have access to what they need. Here's some common mistakes. And of course, I've made them all. Overcomplicating systems. Keep them simple. A system should save time, not add unnecessary complexity. Also, a lot of programs will do this to you as well. So also what works today may not work tomorrow. So, review this carefully. Also, don't ignore team input. And if you have staff or VAs, involve them in some of the system creation. And they often see some of these bottlenecks that you miss. So your system should fit your specific venture. You don't need to copy someone else's. And I try to check in on my VA. She used to be in a foreign country. Now she's in the US, but I try to keep that communication going. It really helps me to help her. So how do we apply this? Entrepreneurship thrives on passion and creativity, but it flourishes with systems. And implementing systems is not about just restricting freedom. It's all about creating a foundation for growth, consistency, and impact. And so take the time to list at least 3 tasks that you repeat often and choose one to systemize immediately. And I prefer to protect my creativity. My goal is to let systems handle the routine so I can focus on vision, on strategy, and on innovation. And really, I hope you do the same. And if you're asking, "Oh, what's next for me and my business? Really, am I an entrepreneur? Should I run something again in my life?" Well, the answer may not be a new idea, but a better system for what you're already doing now. Start with one little process. Build momentum and watch your entrepreneurial venture transform. And if you're not calling yourself an entrepreneur yet, you may not think of yourself as an entrepreneur, as a creative, but there are areas in your life where you are. And I like to stress the importance, even if you are in a regular, where you go to an office, you've got a cubicle, whatever you have there. Think of yourself as an entrepreneur as well. There are parts of your business, of your life that can be more, we have that entrepreneurial edge to it. It makes it more fun. The creative part of your business. So, and to make it more fun, and especially if you are at the halftime of life, mid-career of your journey. I hope you've enjoyed today. Make sure you get the article that comes with this. I've outlined all of this. This is all into that article. You can repeat through some of those steps. Also, there will be some show notes with this, and usually most podcast programs too, whatever you are on, whatever you're listening to this on, it will even have the full transcript, so you should be able to see that. So don't miss that. So many of those use AI tools now, so it's pretty easy to do. So again, thank you for joining me on this Power of After show. Make sure you do get my book, that you're on my newsletter as well, goalsforyourlife.com/newsletter. I have some other websites, Deborah Johnson Speaker. I always do some outside work as well as some virtual work in speaking and in group coaching as well. Actually, entrepreneurial life, not really life coaching, but venture as you are venturing into the next chapter of your life. I help you move forward effectively. So thanks again for joining me, Deborah Johnson, and I'll look forward to being with you again next time. So bye-bye for now. Thanks so much for spending time with me today. I love bringing you insights to help you maximize your skills, resources, and experience at mid-career and beyond, so that you can make your next chapter your most impactful and purposeful yet. I'm Deborah Johnson, and I can't wait to be with you again next time on the Power of After show.